Okay, so on this question, we are wanting to solve to find the slope and the vertical intercept on these questions. So the slope and the vertical intercept. So what we need to know is to find, in fact, let me write it down here. To find slope and vertical intercept. Number one, get y alone. Get y alone. And then step two, you're going to have y alone. Mx plus b. The number next to x is the slope. The number added or subtracted is the vertical intercept. So there's really the story. Is that making sense? So what we're going to need to do on these problems is to find a slope and a vertical intercept, because that's what they're asking us for. They're asking us for a slope and a vertical intercept. To do that, you've got to get y alone. And when you get y alone, the number next to x will be the slope, and the number added or subtracted afterwards is the vertical intercept. So get y alone, and then the number next to x is the slope. The other number added or subtracted is the vertical intercept. Okay, let's do it. Ooh, went right on by. So here we go. So for the first one, y is, notice, by the way, y is already alone, y is already alone, y is already alone. Y is not alone here. We'll get to that one in a minute. Y is not alone here, so we're going to need to get y alone. Y is not, I added some extra ones. Y is not alone here, going to need to get y alone. Y is already alone, y is already alone. So most of them, y is already alone. And I don't have to do step one, right? Okay, getting back to it. Here it is, y is already alone. Now, the problem is it's only got one number. Now, is that number is this number next to x? No, it's not next to x, is it? Whereas this one down here, minus 2/3, is, it's a funny looking is next to x. So what? Well, that means that's the slope, right? Minus 2/3, whereas up here, this one is the vertical intercept, and the other numbers are 0. Okay, did you track with that? Because the other numbers are missing. So one more time, look right here. The number next to x is the slope. And the other number, added or subtracted, is the vertical intercept, right? So come back up here. This number is not next to x, so it's not the slope. It is the vertical intercept. Whereas this one is the slope because this one is next to x. So it's the slope. And the other number's missing, so there's 0. Good so far? And now, how about this one? Well, this one is a number next to x, so that's the slope. And the other number is the vertical intercept. Good. Oh, by the way, oh yeah, I forgot. It wants you to write them like this over here. I forgot. I remember now. They want you to write 0, comma, minus 5/3. It wants you to write it as a point. The vertical intercept is always 0 and then the number y, because x is 0 and y, the vertical intercept is y. But what do I mean? We're talking about on a graph. Let me just show you a little picture of what we're doing really. We're talking about a graph of a line, and the vertical intercept is that right there. It's where vertical intercept. It's where the line goes through the y-axis. Remember, there's the y-axis and the x-axis. That's why that number goes in the y slot. That point that we're looking for is over 0, up something, or down something. In this case, down 5/3. Is that making some sense? So same thing here. This one's actually 0, 0. That's the origin. This one's actually 0 minus 5. So for all of those, you've got to put a 0 in front because it's a point. It's a vertical intercept point, which means it's like this kind of thing, which means that what is the coordinates of that point? That's over 0 up y. Over 0 up y, isn't it? So on a graph, a vertical intercept point is over 0 up y. Yeah, it says it right here. Write your intercepts as ordered pairs. Okay, good so far? Now come in now. This one is a tricky one because it's got no y. Y is missing. Y is missing. That's the first time we've had that, right? We had y here, y here, y here, y here, y here, y here. It's the only one where actually y is missing. There's no y. What does that mean when y is missing? Well, that means
D and E.
Yeah, right. And the reason is because of the graph. On the graph, oops, I didn't do that very well. Let me try that again. If you go to graph, the actual graph, it goes, this is the x-axis and the y-axis, remember? It says x equals -5/4. So that means it goes only through the x-axis back here at -5/4. Right, because, you know, like 0 is in the middle and negative is to the left. So that means it's a vertical line. Are you seeing how I'm coming up with that? I'm thinking about the equation and what it means about the graph, like what it looks like on the graph. So right over here, -5/4, it means it goes through the x-axis only. Why? Because it has x in the equation only. Doesn't touch the y-axis at all, notice. It only goes through the x-axis. Okay, so what? Well, that slope is D and E, like Alexander's saying. That's exactly right. Because remember, that's infinity, right? The slope is so steep, it's perfectly steep. So it's infinity steep. And so you can't give that a number. So you just say D and E. And what about the vertical intercept? Also D and E, because it never touches the vertical axis. So when you have only x and y is missing, they're both D and E because it's a vertical line. Its slope is infinity, which we say does not exist as a number. Infinity is not a number. And it doesn't touch the y-axis, the vertical axis at all. All right, I think you got that one. Next one. What do we have to do on this one first off? We have to get y alone, right? Have to get y alone. So how do you get y alone? You add 9x to both sides. Remember, these will cancel. So we get y equals 9x plus 18. You tracking with me? You can't do anything until you first get y alone. That's why I told you down below that we had to do that first. You have to get y alone. This whole thing is dependent. Y must, get, it's all right. There you go, right there. Get y alone. So you have to get y alone. If they don't give you y alone, you have to get it alone. Let me show you down here. Remember I said step number 1, get y alone. It's just, usually it's already alone. So we can kind of get out of the habit, but you have to get y alone if it's not already alone. Then, and only then, is the number next to x the slope and the other number the vertical intercept. Okay. So on this, so if they give you one where y is not alone, you have to get y alone. So I did that. I added 9x to both sides, canceling this out. Y is alone. Now, what's the slope? 9, the number next to x, and the other number is 18, right? So watch out. There might be a common mistake where you put -9. This is not -9. You have to first add 9x to both sides, and then it's 9. All right, coming down to here. What are we gonna do on this one? Same kind of thing. You got to get y alone. In fact, I don't have room right there. So I'm gonna bring it on down. Bring it on down right here. So come on down. So -3y minus 8x, is that right? Yeah, equals 32. Okay. iPad's whipping all over. All right. So get y alone, right? Because y is not alone. So, okay, add 8x to both sides. Boom and a boom. And this is 8x plus 32. And then divide. Now, remember when we divide, we do all of them, right? Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. All the terms, equal treatment, all the terms on both sides. And so what do we get? I'm going to put that minus in the front. You know, a minus in a fraction. You can just put it in the front like that. See how I just took those the minus down here and the minus down here, I just stuck them in the front? It's the same thing. A minus in the bottom, a minus in the top, a minus in the front. It doesn't matter. On a fraction, one negative sign is negative wherever it's at. And so there we go. So now we know that, coming on back here, this is the slope. That is there's the slope. This is the vertical intercept, huh? Minus 8/3 and minus 32/3. Whoa, hello. So minus 8/3 and minus 32/3. We good with that one? All right, two more. All right, y is already alone here. So what's next to x? This is a -1. And the other one is -2. Are you tracking with that? Again, the number next, y is already alone here. The number next to x, well, there's no number, but that really means a -1, doesn't it? There's one x here. There's one x there, but it's negative. It's -1. Remember, whatever sign is in front of a letter or a number or whatever, that's their baby. Take that with them, -1. Finally, how about this one? Last one. It is going to be, get new color here. Oh, wait, that's not the color I want. -1/9. There we go. -1/9, and this, and the vertical intercept is 0 because there's no number added or subtracted. So what's next to x here is actually -1/9. Again, because there's no number up top next to x, that always means 1. And the 9 is there as well. So it's -1/9 is the fraction next to x, and there's no number added or subtracted off the right. So that's 0. And so there we go. Oh, wait, I started blowing these again, didn't I? This should be 0, 18, 0, 0, like that, right? I forgot. There we go. So yeah, so remember, as it says up here, write your intercepts as ordered pairs. I don't see those tiny little words. So they all have to be written with a 0 in the front, right? Because it's a vertical intercept, over 0, up or down something. So don't mess up like I did. There we go. Questions on that one? How are we doing on number 5? Anything I can answer?